want to thank Chairman McCaul for his initiative with this bill and his persistence in reintroducing it, and especially his patience today. And I recognize him now for 5 minutes.
I thank the Chairman. And Dr. Chang, let me say thank you for your service on the CSIS Commission, to the nation, and to the University of Texas at Austin. And Ms. Benzel, I agree with you. Our adversaries are moving forward, moving ahead. They're attacking our Federal agencies every day. In support and building a record in support of this legislation, I see this bill doing several things: applying NIST standards to the Federal government. It bolsters research and development in this area, a private sector university federal task force, education and awareness piece, and procurement standards within the Federal government. And I'd like to go through each of you, and if you could tell me how you believe, if you do, that this legislation will advance the cause for enhancing cybersecurity for this nation. Mr. Barrett.
I would give a very brief answer, which is, well, maybe not quite so brief. In general, philosophically, we think that cybersecurity, as Dr. Chang said, it's a wicked problem. And as such, there is probably no single bill that could be passed that will, on its own, materially change the trend line. But on the other hand, the sort of lack of a grand unification theory shouldn't stop us from doing good work. And this bill would definitely appear to be falling into that place where it does no harm, and it also does good work in the specific areas it's chosen.
That's a very good point. I think I served on the Speaker's Cybersecurity Task Force, and our first axiom was to do no harm by legislation. So I appreciate you saying that. Dr. Chang.
Thank you. In advance of reading the bill, if I could have picked two things that are critical to improving the nation's cybersecurity posture, it would be research and development and workforce development. And so this legislation, to me, is just just right on target relative to addressing the top two problems. I guess I would add, as I mentioned in my spoken testimony, the notion that we need to be patient about this. I guess it would be great if we could sort of plant a forest and all the trees turn into something that result in wonderful research. But I see this legislation as important in that it is at least planting a few trees. It allows us to plant a few things that will grow into the future. I would sure hate to be sitting here 10 years from now, 20 years from now, still saying that we actually don't understand causes, we don't understand solutions, we don't understand countermeasures, and this legislation, I believe, begins planting a few trees. Thank you.
And thanks for making the point about the cyber workforce in the Federal government. I think that's very, very important as well. Ms. Benzel.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for your perseverance in this area. I agree with my colleagues. There is no one answer. It's a very difficult field, but I was quite very impressed to see this particular bill in two areas that I would call out. And one is the technology transfer recognition of the difficulty of that problem. And I have worked in a number of different public-private partnerships over the years. I was a part of the PCIS committee back in the early 2000s. I see that the opportunity here to do some real planning around university kinds of partnerships and bringing the universities into it. So it's a tripart aspect is very exciting in the bill. The other one is in the science of cybersecurity and understanding that there's a need for research and development kinds of test beds and experimentation. That's called out in the bill for experimental science. So I think technology transfer and experimental cybersecurity have a chance to be fundamentally changing. And of course, the education and training are important too.
Let me thank the witnesses for your expertise and for appearing here today. Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to participate in this hearing, even though I don't sit on this subcommittee. And I look forward to the markup and hopefully overwhelmingly passage of the bill and signed into law by the President. Thank you.